Every few years I have to repair minor damage of my house like this here, which needs a bit of wood filler and a new fresh coat of paint. But on this corner I have a much bigger problem. The entire corner is gone, completely eaten away by the fungus, by the rotting of the wood. It's not termite, it's brown rot. I didn't notice the extent of the damage because all of this was covered by the paint and it didn't seem to be that bad. So the first step was to clear all the crumbling wood, which I have done already here. Next I made a 12% solution of this insecticide and fungicide, which I will spray over the wood. I sprayed very liberally, making sure that all the exposed part of the wood had some solution, some spray applied to it, which would be absorbed by the wood. I actually did 2 applications, this is the second one. As you can see, I really soak everything. I let the fungicide dry overnight, and the next day I moved on to the next step, which is to apply liquid wood. It comes in 2 bottles and needs to be mixed in equal parts. Mixed well. I do not show the whole thing here, but it needs to be mixed for about 1 minute, and then it needs to sit for 5 to 10 minutes before being applied. And then I had about 30 minutes to brush all the exposed wood with this solution, and after 1 to 2 hours it starts solidifying but still remains tacky, which is good for the next step. And this next step is actually the more fun, is to use wood epoxy putty to reconstruct the part of the wood which was destroyed by the rot. I bought small amounts to begin with to test it and make sure it worked as I thought it would, and then I bought bigger containers. Amazon links to all the materials are in the description below. It needs to be mixed by hand very well until you cannot see the white part anymore, like this. And that means that it is ready to go. I used most of this batch to fill up another hole I had in different location, and just used the leftover to start strengthening the structure and filling in the gaps. Once hardened, this wood epoxy is very strong. So the starter kit was 12 ounces total, and I got the big buckets of 32 ounces each, so 64 total. I made small batches one after the other, pushing the putty as far down the cracks as possible. The cracks are mostly filled. I will let this dry and solidify before I move on to the next layer. As I add more layers, the corner is starting to take shape, little by little. I used a small piece of plywood covered with parchment paper to smooth the surface and create the edges. So this is how it looks like after good sanding. Not perfect, but that will do. I am done with the epoxy putty. Now I'll use wood filler to work on the small cracks and try to improve the corners and edges. And that's it. I sanded some more, applied some caulking, and once the caulking is dry, it will be time to prime and paint all this. And after 3 coats of paint, it's all finished. It's not perfect, but it will be good enough. Well, thank you for watching. I hope it was instructive or helpful. Goodbye.